Okay, here we go again. The Carolina Hurricanes will face off against the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Once again, like the rematch in 2023, where the Cats not steamrolled, as Rod Brindamore would like to say. It wasn't a sweep, but it was technically, as the Cats won 4-0 in 2023, and they went on, of course, losing to Vegas Golden Knights that year, and then winning on to go to the Stanley Cup Final again last year, and now they're looking to go to, again, the third year in a row, but they have to get past the Hurricanes, and of course, Florida has never been scared of a hurricane, but maybe they should be this year. So let's talk all about it, but first, you should subscribe because you'll get the best hockey content in the world, and you'll get notified of it so you can watch it every single day when it comes out. And it'll also make me happy. So you should subscribe and like this video and comment that you did that, and I'll love you. How about that? But anyways, let's talk about the actual reason you clicked on this video. So this series is easily going to be a war of attrition. That is just plain and simple. These are two teams that love to bully teams into playing their style of hockey, and that is through playing super physical, board plays, 50-50 puck battles, and expecting to win them and just get good chances on net while their goaltending and defense are able to suppress anything that goes the other way. That is what is supposed to happen in this series, and I think it's interesting how I think this is going to go. Both teams so deep. Both teams really well coached. Both teams have great defense. In fact, they're first and second hardest teams to score on in this playoffs already. First and second. Penalty kills. First for the Hurricanes, second for the Panthers. Goals against. First for the Hurricanes, second for the Panthers. Like, it is just neck and, well, I guess goals against per game. Which is, I think, better because they played more games. Anyways, so those are the facts, right? These two teams are super hard to score against. They're not too separated when it comes to scoring goals. So it is an interesting battle between these two teams. They're very well similar to each other, right? And I think for most people, I think they're picking easily the Florida Panthers, right? And I'm not kind of shocked because it's not that I'm leaning towards the Panthers, but it's just from years past and me being definitely just a little bit more of a Canes fan. Maybe a lot of it, but a little bit. But I'm definitely a huge Cats fan too. It's hard to see this series because it's like I want both teams to win. But for me, I see the same issues that I see for the Hurricanes that plagued them the last time that they played. And of course, this year, in 2023, the whole point of what Rod Brindamore said, and what everyone remembers, is that was not a sweep. And by that, game number 1 went to 4 overtimes. 3-2 game. Game 2 went to first overtime and was 2-1, I believe. And then the other 2 games in the series, one was 1-0 and the other one was 2-1. These are all, or 3-4, something like that. All of them, 1 single goal games. What has been the Hurricanes' issue on the O Hockey Show that we've said every single year is that the Canes need a goal scorer. They need to find offense. They need to find a guy that'll take, hey, I want to be a Conn Smythe winner. Go for the gold. Go be the guy that becomes clutch. And everyone's like, that guy's the clutch guy. Watch out for him. The Canes have never, ever been able to find that guy. And this year, we might have. Andrei Svechnikov is finally emerging as a big goal scorer. He leads the Canes in goals. He's had very clutch goals, especially the ones, especially last one against the Washington Capitals to seal off the series. And finally, also in net, Freddie has become an absolute beast. Fredzilla is in net for the Hurricanes, and I think easily the best-looking goaltender of this playoffs, right? So, if you take this team and you compare them to what happened in 2023, I think it's not night and day, but it's definitely like night to noon because, well, I guess that is the peak of day, so that was the most idiotic thing I could have said. But anyways, they have that guy now, and I think they have guys to do it. I think Seth Jarvis, back then, was not the emerging, young, amazing, bright goal scorer and two-way guy. He is now. Sebastian Aho has been sketchy at times for my liking, but has become a true offensive magnet to me. And Svechnikov, of course, emerging as a big goal scorer. I think defensively, guys like Jalen Chatfield, guys like Brent Burns, Slavin, wanting to really make that big name for himself, riding this humongous year that he's had. Maybe be guys that could come out with some goals. I definitely like this squad more than the one that they went in with last time. And they're more experienced. They've been here before. They've done that. But of course, they're playing against the team that have been there the exact time and have come out the victors in those same circumstances. The Florida Panthers are huge, right? They are absolutely nuts good. Florida, of course, winning the Stanley Cup last year, have been to the Stanley Cup finals the last 2 years. They've been on a roll. They beat Toronto in Game 7, right? Finally knocked them out, making them look like bozos, but also not coming out super clean from that series, I'd say, either. Tampa Bay may be burnt out, but Florida took advantage and killed their enemy when they would like to, right? And that's what scares me about the Florida Panthers, is that if you look at the Kane series against the New Jersey Devils, that series was like, it went to 5 games, but each game, New Jersey was like 1 goal away. Carolina did not suffocate their enemy like Florida did to Tampa Bay, right? Where they just knocked them out. They killed them, right? Florida, like, they were like the Doomslayer an imp, right? Like, they just obliterated them. The Canes, they play like they are like the Doomslayer in Eternal when you're just trying to punch a freaking guy, right? It's just like, you're gonna beat him, I guess, but like, come on, knock him out. I know that sounds so stupid, but that is exactly what I have to say. And to me, that's what scares me, is that Carolina has been able to beat both of their teams in 5-game series and done it in a very impressive way. But they haven't, and they play their game well, right? They get tons of shots on net. They own the puck. They keep shooting and shooting and shooting, testing the goaltender, but they just don't, they just have no killer attitude, right? They just have no setup plays. They don't get that big slap shot. They don't have those any kind of crazy thing. They need to break through that. And if they do, this team could easily become the Stanley Cup champion. But if not, Florida, to me, could easily become the Stanley Cup champion if Florida keep playing their game, which I think they will. The thing that scares me for Florida, though, and I think this might be crazy, but maybe not too crazy, not too much of a hot take, but Bobrovsky has been iffy to me. He's let in a lot of weak goals, I think, but also come out with some of the greatest saves of this playoffs against Toronto and Tampa Bay, which scares. Freddie has done nothing wrong. I don't think he's let in a bad goal. I don't think he's let in a single bad goal. And now there is a scare, of course, like a guy like Sam Bennett could knock him out, knock Freddie on his ass, and kick him completely out of the series. Totally valid and could possibly happen. But I think I that would definitely hurt Carolina. But I think they might be able to survive if Kochetkov came in. I don't think goaltending is what is going to kill the Canes in this series. I think it could kill the Panthers. Bobrovsky, I think, has let in weak goals, and I feel like that's kind of Carolina's play. They just plaster shots. They get them on net. They're not always the greatest quality, like back and forth, make the big save that Bob likes to save. Look at the goals that he's let in against Toronto recently. The Matthews one, the Domi one, just straight up just shots in the 5-hole. Feel like the ones that he should have saved, right? Feel like he could have had those ones, but he didn't. And it scares me. I think the defense of Florida, even though they are second against Carolina in all those kind of categories, but like what Toronto did to them, I'm kind of shocked that those numbers are like the actual truth. To me, like, they do not look like the second best defending team in the NHL. I'm surprised it's not like it's not Winnipeg, but especially because of that Blues series. But like Dallas, not Vegas, I guess. Maybe then the Capitals too, because they played this almost. No, I guess they didn't play the same amount of games, but like, I'm just kind of shocked that that's true. It doesn't feel like they should be number 2. They've looked risky and sketchy back there. So my question mark is, what is the differences in this year, right? Is it enough for Carolina to overcome the Panthers, make them play their way, and just come out with that victory to move on to the finals for the first time finally? Well, not ever. Or will Florida be able to overcome that no matter what? Just eat up and overcome the bullying that Carolina does and bully them back and score those big goals that we know Verhaeghe and Tkachuk like to score. Barkov, Dangle, and make some amazing, incredible goals. I think it's interesting. And I think, for my opinion, in this series, is that I am going to say, as I try to find a red marker, which I'm not going to be able to find, is I'm going to say my verdict, my prediction for this series is Canes in 6. I think the Canes are actually going to come out. I think they have looked super impressive against some other teams. I think people have underestimated how good maybe New Jersey was. I think they've underestimated how good the Capitals were and how well the Hurricanes were able to dominate those teams. And I think people are overestimating how good the Panthers have looked. And I know their resume's stacked. I love the Cats too. Like my favorite teams are probably the Canes #1, and it goes Panthers. And I think the Panthers just don't have it this year. I think they did what they needed to do against Toronto, and I think I would love to see them get two Stanley Cups in a row and just have like Florida just owning hockey for a decade. But to me, Carolina has just done everything they do amazingly and as impressively as possible. And I think they have the star power, the goal scoring power this year, and the depth and the defense to just overcome what the Cats have. And it might be a boring series, but I think it might be the Canes series. And finally, Florida will sink to a hurricane. But that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this, made it this far. Please, I'm begging you to subscribe. And until next time, too sweet, I hope you have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.